Good evening, Ellsworth Public Library friends, and welcome back to our Choose Your Own Adventure. We've been on an adventure with Mission to Venus, Doctor Who, and we have found ourselves on a spaceship, and we've met the crew, and there has been a meteorite, or an asteroid, that has banged into the spaceship, and we needed to decide whether we were going to volunteer to help with the repairs or not. And I'm going to roll some dice tonight. The book actually gives us an option to roll some dice, and if we score less than 8, which we did, because I got a 5 and a 2, 7, we are to go to 18. So that's fine. 18. You volunteered to help the repair crew. Berrigan and Tedder looked at you doubtfully, and you pointed out that you could carry tools with the best. Berrigan conceded the point, knowing that he needed all the men available, and ordered that you be kitted out with spacesuits. And a strange experience it was. The suit itself was quite light, as was the helmet, but the boots were magnetized and required considerable effort to lift them and step forward. You were paired off with one of the crew, Davis. He gave you some welding equipment to carry, and you and the repairmen crowded into the airlock. The air was drawn out, and when the indicator showed 0 pressure, the outer door was opened. You experienced a moment of vertigo, as the awesome sight of empty space, blacker than you had ever seen and punctuated only by the distant stars, seemed to draw you outwards. Following the others, you stumped your way out and made your way heavily after Davis. "Stick with me," he said into his helmet radio. "Just give me the tools as I asked for them, and take them back when I'm finished." "Right," you said. His helmet turned towards you. "Did you hear me?" "Of course," you answered. "I'll do as you say." "I can see your lips moving, but I hear nothing. Try it again." "Testing," you said, a little concerned now. 1, 2, 3, 4. "No good," Davis said. "Yours is a spare suit. Probably ain't been checked properly. Your radio's packed in. Never mind. When I point, just give me what I want." But you did mind. It was one thing to be able to hear, but quite another that no one could hear you. Still, there was nothing to be done about it. The work had to be done, and reasonably quickly at that. Holding your lifeline as well as the tools, you plodded after Davis as the others spread out and went about their separate chores. Walking in, more or less, complete nothingness was a new experience for you, and you had to admit there was something unnerving about it. But Davis was unperturbed, and you drew courage from that. He located the fractured seam and crouched over it. It looked to be bigger than had been thought, and his voice was concerned. "That thing caught us quite a wallop. This is no 5-minute job, mate, believe me. 5 hours, more like, and not easy to get at either." He took the welding torch from you and set to, the flame burning out into the vacuum, obviously designed for the purpose. The others, you noticed, were examining the rest of the hull for possible further damage, and one party was prizing away the meteorite with huge crowbars. All were busy, all intent upon their work. Davis particularly wordless as the flame of his torch liquefied, then sealed the damaged seam. The trouble was that after more than an hour you grew bored. The wonder of outer space began to pale. There ought to be something more useful you could do than stand there holding the craftsman's spare tools. You were interested to see just how far the damage led. You decided to look. Crouching down, you put your hands against the ship's side and pushed your boots away. You knew this to be safe because you were traveling at the same speed, and anyway, the lifeline was in your hand. You pushed yourself below and beyond the absorbed Davis to look further. It was as you had thought. The fracture ran some 2 meters beyond where he was working. It was going to be a longer job than even he had thought. You decided you had better convey the bad news to him. You pushed yourself away again to return to your starting point. It was then that panic struck. You saw Davis hold his torch to one side as he examined the work so far accomplished. He did not know you were suspended in space, your only security the lifeline, nor did he know that his torch was burning through your only security. "Davis!" you screamed, but of course he could not hear you. The torch severed the line. You drifted. You screamed and tried somehow to swim your way back to safety. You kicked and shouted, but no one saw and no one heard, all absorbed in their work. In trying to return, you had pushed yourself too hard, creating a velocity of your own, different to that of the ship. Already you were 25 meters away, with no link to your haven. You were sweating with fear. Your screams were unheard and therefore unheeded. The Medusa dwindled against the vastness of eternal space. The stars sparkled on in total indifference. You sank away into the darkness, the vast solitude creeping chillingly into your soul. There was nothing but you, drifting alone into infinity. Well, our adventure took us somewhere we really probably didn't want to go. And the book tells us, you didn't do too well on that one. It pays not to take chances when you aren't sure what you are about. Try again by going to 9. So, tomorrow morning at 11, I'll be back to read section 9, and we'll see if we need a vote at that time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow here on Facebook, or you can join us on our YouTube channel, or of course there is a new Flipgrid, Ellsworth Public Library Flipgrid, at flipgrid.com/EPL. Thanks for tuning in and following this adventure, and we'll be looking for your votes or your choice tomorrow morning at 11.